So one final one before we hop in, and actually some really good lore. So Big Red Bear asks, lore question, post Shadowlands lore question. Now this is one where I think there's going to be a bit of disagreement. So it says, Anduin is not seemingly very popular, and understandably so, but he's probably going to make it out of Shadowlands. Do you think they'll actually use this opportunity to evolve the character finally? And that's where I want to hop in, because I like Anduin, but I used to be in the critical of Anduin camp back in MoP, but as I've seen his character grow, I've liked him more and more, but I've always felt like he's not really got enough to do in-game in a way where we're kind of like there with him as players.
Yeah.
And that's basically the thing. So I think Anduin has got lots of potential. I do like the guy. He's almost certainly going to make it out of the Shadowlands. What I want to see is just him actually, facing stuff. And I guess, too, it's that thing. If you only play World of Warcraft and you do not know about the books, I mean, I think Anduin's Christy Golden's favorite character to write. Like, he does feature quite a bit in a lot of her novels. And she really does do a great job of characterizing him. And I really, I just like the way she writes, dialogue and stuff. So from reading Christie's novels, I do like Anduin quite a bit. But I suppose for a bunch of people, they don't have that perspective because they maybe haven't read Christie's novels. Yeah. And that is obviously, I'm not going to do another roundabout transmedia narrative. Obviously, that stuff should be in game more.
We'll do that in 5 minutes.
So do you think they'll use this opportunity to evolve the character finally? Now, this is a great thing. So if you are watching those Shadowlands cutscenes that you see, and you look at Anduin, you're like, yeah, he's just been sitting in Stormwind, he's been doing Shagall, and now he's dominated. Well, actually not really, because he does a fair few things in the latest novel, including having a bunch of void flicker out around him as he sort of loses it for a bit. So with Anduin, there's going to be this clash of light and shadow. Of him. I think that clash of light and shadow, it's kind of like the dogmatism of him growing up, basically wanting to be a priest, being a super light man, and then he gets older, he has responsibilities, things become a little bit more complex. I think a lot of that more is represented in the void. So the whole light void struggle actually can really encapsulate a bunch of his character growth. So we've got that happening. We've got the stuff between, him and his father, which I have to wonder if we will see any more of that happen in this expansion. We've got the parallels of him and Arthas, the sort of weight of a kingdom and what that does to your decision making, which I think will be very interesting once Anduin has got to grapple with the ability to use void, and it also being very obvious that light is not all great.
Yeah, I know. I've been very recently playing through the Jade Forest. And that has the whole white pawn thing, and then you go to rescue Anduin or find him, and he's like, no, I have shit to do, and he's very happy, or he's conflicted about it, but he's willing to mind control someone to get them to. I think it's his the handler of sorts that was sent. Was it Admiral Taylor or Captain Taylor at the time? I think it was
sure.
something like that, but. Mind controls a human and, goes, basically Jedi mind tricks him, like, I wasn't here, and then runs off into the wild, saves a bunch of pandas, and is very, 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 very much a rebel who's willing to do what he shouldn't do to do the right thing. So I think that actually, and thinking about the light and void stuff, I think they could basically do a rerun of that idea, where it's like, obviously back in the day in Mist's time, it wasn't like, mind control wasn't considered super voidy or anything. That came in later. But I think they could basically run that through again and have Anduin complete the arc of, I'm actually willing to do what I shouldn't really do for the sake of what I should really do.
Yeah.
Not exactly means to an end kind of way, but something like that. Something like that, I think, is I'm really interested where it goes.
I think Anduin is a great character. I really like him. That is from a book reader's perspective, though. Yeah. So I understand people who've only seen the game not being 100% in with Anduin, or people just not really liking Anduin. I mean, fair enough. Everyone's, got their right to their opinion.
Sure.
I will just say there is so much potential for Anduin's story to go in really interesting places. And finally, some inter-alliance conflict because if Turalian is there and Illyria is there, they represent all the things they represent. There's Gen, there's Tyrande. I mean, just think about the amount of friction that does exist in the Alliance leadership. And Blizzard have purposefully had that friction bubble and bubble and bubble and go nowhere really, other than Tyrande throwing a few. I mean, I say throwing a few strops. That's me saying that because I feel like we really have needed more screen time with Tyrande. And, all they've done is just put some mascara on her and had her growl. But, like, I'd love more time with that character to explore her trauma and, all of that stuff. And we need more of that. So hopefully we get more of that soon. But, yeah, just Alliance, the people in the Horde have had their faction be just... There's a new war chief every expansion, and the Horde, they're very often the bad guys. I mean, the Horde were the bad guys of Battle for Azeroth. They were the bad guys in a lot of ways of Mists of Pandaria with Garrosh. And, each time they've sort of reran the plot line of, oh yeah, but the people who are the true Horde have rebelled eventually. But it's like, we need to see this happen with the Alliance, because, I mean, as an Alliance player, I guess I want to see what it's like. When it's my faction that's getting messed up. So I think that'd be great.